broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Ultimate Fighter, Season 21, Episode 5 here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm Suri Serano, and we have a great show planned for you. Pretty soon, shortly, we have Mr. Haider Hassan joining himself. Very excited to speak with him. But first, let me introduce you to my co-host. To my left.
I'm Jared. I'm interrupting you too. I'm just excited today. I'm excited because we're 5 episodes in. You know, it's getting tight. And I'm Jared Gilkerson. You can find me at Gilkerson Radio on Twitter.
You are amped up.
I know.
And across the table, Mr. J-Tan.
That's me,
yes.
not her. That's me. Hey guys, how are ya?
How dare you?
And
where can they follow you, buddy?
Yeah.
JTAN716, the big three: Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Nice.
And Alexis Torres.
MySpace.
Hi guys, you can find me all over the interwebs at atorres890.
All right, well, let's dig in. You know, this episode starts off with Anthony Rumble Johnson, who's fighting this weekend at 187, right? Joining, coming to visit the house, his teammate Carrington, who just won. I mean, not much to talk about there, but just, you know, I don't know.
I wonder if they planned that thing kind of to, the week of the event. And
I thought that too, but it's so hard to plan that, right? With the scheduling and, I mean.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, most likely. I mean, you know the weeks that they're going to broadcast, and I suppose you could stick that in at any point because you've got to map out match by week.
Sure.
So it would work out. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but
Maybe.
Who do you got?
Sure.
Oh, who's gonna win?
Who are you picking for the match?
I know. I was going to ask you guys at the end. We were going to get there, and we were going to do some predictions. So let's hold off on that.
Nice little tease.
We will get to all our predictions on UFC 187. And so then let's see. Moving on here, they chose the fighters. ATT went with Haider Hassan. Mm-hmm. What do you think of their choice?
Aggressive fighter. It's like they finally went with someone who seemed like, and that made me think they were saving someone who has a good track record against the Beezies. You know, he's 2-0 against guys on that team. Mm-hmm. So it made me think, you know, and he might have been a little injured at the beginning of the show, but I really think they saved him for a big point match, and it paid off as we find out later. But I think it was a great choice, and he's an aggressive fighter, which is great for the show. Yeah,
a 4-match skid. I think they needed to pull out the big guns to flip something around, and it was like, why not?
Okay.
I mean, Nakahara even said when he was doing like the training on the beach and stuff, he's like, "Oh, I'm a simple fighter," and I was like, "Oh no," because I mean, not to say that he's a bad fighter. It's just I know most people who are very like 1-2 kick, 1-2 kick. It's not usually a good thing to be in this competition like that.
You can't be that in a sport like MMA where it's so diverse and it's not just punches and or kicks.
Yeah, right.
You know, you've got. It's the most what's the word? It's the most diverse and deepest combat sport out there.
Yeah, so that's
legally anyway.
Yeah, we know of.
Yeah, and that's why I felt like with him having a karate background, I was like, I don't think he's gonna do well in this, at least in this competition.
Yeah. Well, let's introduce our guest, Skyping in from Florida, Haider Hassan. Are you with us? Can you hear me? Maybe not yet.
Check.
I guess not. Well, we'll get back to you. Haider.
Well, there goes that surprise anyway.
I'm sure they're working that out.
We'll get him.
Yes, we will. And then, so the Black Zillions went with Andrews Nakahara, as obviously we were talking about that. World Karate Champion. I actually was excited for the fight. I was with Dana on this one. I don't know if that was hype and BS on his part, but, you know, it looked more exciting to me, at least the way it was all pieced together, based on the 5 weeks that we've been watching the show.
Yeah. I was a little worried for Naka, honestly. This is not just like, Monday morning quarterback, but every time he was interviewed, he looked, I know we later on found out why he was emotional, and I just didn't have confidence in him, and Haider was for lack of a better term, riding high. And I just, like, he's the only guy on that ATT team that seems really confident. And Naka was just a little reserved, and we've seen that work before, but like Alexis said, he just seemed a little too robotic.
Yeah.
Like, just his method. And I thought maybe he had some jiu-jitsu or wrestling, like maybe he was going to bust out something different, but he,
That's what I wanted. I was like, oh man, I hope that he like totally flips everything and that he's going to be this awesome fighter and he just knows where to hit and everything. And it was very disappointing, but it was literally like putting a point fighter and a brawler into a cage and letting them go at it, and it didn't work out.
Did you
very
both think that Haider was just going to take it and it was going to be end quickly?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think Haider's going to be a star of the whole season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, with the, I was going to say arrogance, but no, the swagger. Well, arrogant. Everybody has.
He's got to be.
Cockiness, arrogance, swagger. He does stand out. He's willing to work his mouth, and obviously the promotion loves that. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he did win. I think that Nakahara, again, these guys were on a 4-fight. The Brazilians were on a Black Brazilians 4-fight win streak. I don't want to say that they threw Nakahara in thinking that they can just lob one up, for lack of a better phrase.
Right.
It did look like a good striking match on paper. You got the karate guy versus the guy that just with big heavy hands. It just didn't work out that way. I would have put maybe put Haider in. Well, I'm second guessing myself. At the beginning of the season, I actually paired guys up to see, if hypothetically, because you got to remember this is all just a crapshoot. It's blackjack. Who do you come up with that week? Yeah. But if you were to pair them up, I put on my matchmaker's hat, and at first
it's a nice hat.
It is.
When I got it on. I would have put him up against BB Monster. I look at my notes and that. Although, I kind of second guess that as well, knowing, BB Monster, what he is on the ground. But at least record-wise, it made sense. Again, a heavy-handed guy.
Could see it.
Yeah,
it'd be a good fight.
That would have been, I think, an explosive one.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to a turning point here, too, in the show where, we're 5 weeks in, and now you might start to see guys get 2 fights. We're almost there, and that'll really ramp the show up a notch. Because Haider was hardly touched,
Right.
So he could go again very soon, and he's the only guy who's won for this team. So it's really exciting. I really am looking forward to the coaches maybe saying, okay, we've got 5 real guys here. Let's go with them because we need to win this thing because it's going to get down to that very soon.
Especially as the points escalate. Hey guys, is Haider on the line?
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. We can hear you. Welcome.
What's up, man?
We got it right. How you doing?
Can you see my face or no? I don't know if
I think
We'll probably see it in a minute.
we can't see you yet, but the producers are working on being able to see you. But we can hear you. Oh, there you are. Hey there. We can see you now. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
I can't see you guys.
I know.
But you can hear us.
You can see my face, which is cool. I like looking at myself in the mirror. That's all I did.
I love that. Well,
So you don't know how many fingers I'm holding up, huh?
It's just one. I'm just kidding.
Except this.
That's not true, my friend.
Face.
It's a thumbs up. How dare you?
Haider, thank you so much for taking time out of your, very busy training schedule to join us. We certainly appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I was looking forward to speaking with you guys today.
Love it. Well, let's just jump in because we've been kind of recapping this week's episode and the fight, and let's talk the fight, guys. Where do you want to go? Go ahead, Jared.
Let's start in round 1.
There we go.
I guess I wanted to jump into the process of when you were selected. It seems to me that you're really comfortable with other strikers. Okay, one question is, do you feel more comfortable with another striker in the ring as opposed to a grappler? And 2, do you think the coaches were saving you for a bigger point match, so you guys could catch up to the Black Zillions, more quickly?
As far as matchups against a fighter, I feel great against anybody. But just coming from American Top Team, where every day you're training against every well-versed and skilled fighter. So whether they're a wrestler, a jiu-jitsu fighter, or a striker, I'm ready for whatever, wherever, whenever. And that's just my mindset. And my skills back up, pretty much the tab that my mouth runs. And I'm always excited. I'm someone that prides himself on confidence. Going into the Ultimate Fighter show, I had just fought Halloween night against one of the Blackzilians, Felipe Portela, and I knocked him out in the first round. I fractured my hand in that fight. So the first fight on the show, my coaches actually wanted me to fight first because they wanted me to go out there and make a statement and bring it back to ATT. But I've had hand injuries. This is actually the 6th time I broke my hand. I've had 5 surgeries on my hand. So I had to be extra careful because I didn't want to be one and done. Fight one time and then just be done. Can't be fighting more on the show. So the doctors wanted me to wait 2 extra weeks. The show was the first 4 fights. There's 2 fights every week, and then the last week in the house there's 4 fights in 1 week. So I was looking at this as a marathon rather than a sprint. So I was just excited to get in there. Finally, when I got my name called, it was a blessing because for those 2 weeks while we were losing, it was hard for me to sleep. I was really agitated because I'm not coming from ATT. We're not used to losing. We don't lose. So it was kind of like a whole new new environment for us. But we were all really excited because even though we were losing, we all looked at it like it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we looked at this deficit that we were coming from as far as a way to show our character and what we're made of.
Well said.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Great.
Just a quick side to go away from your fight for a second. This episode clearly showed a lot on Michael Graves. They were kind of driving it home, the alcohol and potentially, maybe leaving the house or I don't know. Dana talked about it. Your teammates said some things. Was he bringing the morale of the team down? Did you feel that way?
Honestly, no, I didn't feel that way. I feel like the camera's trying to edit certain things for what they wanted to look like. He had been drinking. We did address it with him. We told him, hey man, we have to be all business here. And once we talked to them, he understood the mindset. And we were upset with him because he didn't come to weigh-ins, but luckily he was one of the drivers at the house, or one of the workers for the production crew was able to drop him off at the Blackzilians gym before the weigh-in started, and that pretty much remedied that problem that we were having, because if he didn't come, then it would have been a really big issue. But I'll tell you, after that moment, there wasn't any more situations where we had to worry about him drinking or not being focused, because he's a great athlete. He's a young guy. So he'd never been in that type of atmosphere before. He was 4-0 as a fighter. So all these pressures were something new to him, and I think maybe that's why he chose to have a drinker here and there. And also, man, he's young. I mean, when I was young in college, I could have a drink, or go party with my boys, and the next day I'd be in the gym. But I mean, I can't do that now. I don't even drink anymore. But this is all business. We're after a big purse. We're trying to represent American Top Team, our family, and so you don't want to come across like that.
Speaking of atmosphere, I've asked all the fighters that we've had on every week, what it was like for you to be in the house. Would you do it again? And then also the fight atmosphere. Some of these fighters have said that they were a little bit intimidated by all the lights and cameras and how rowdy that environment was. You clearly weren't shaken this week from in terms of the fight and being in that environment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as far as being in the house and whether I would do it again, I would absolutely do it again. I looked at this opportunity. This is actually the 3rd time I've tried out for the Ultimate Fighter. 2 other times I didn't get selected. One time I made it to the final round, and they decided to go with the lower weight class. And then the second time I went, I didn't get chosen. So for me, for this to be my 3rd opportunity to go out for the Ultimate Fighter and represent American Top Team, fight in my gym, and those whole aspects, I was really excited. That's why I took this so serious, just because I knew the opportunities that would be presented to myself, and I wanted to take full advantage of that. But as far as the pressures of fighting on the show, fighting in front of the cameras, I'm someone who truly excels under pressure. That's why I enjoy talking and being vocal and say what I'm going to do to you, and really just speak from confidence, because I'm putting more pressure on myself when I'm saying I'm going to knock you out. I'm next. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm putting more pressure on myself because it's how I relate to pressure. I enjoy pressure. I like to say I make love to pressure. And
awesome.
and you see that when I fight. I mean, I'm super calm, cool, and collected when I fight. And this was high stakes. I mean, the Black Zillions are cheering, loud. They're saying stuff in Portuguese, which at a time I didn't even know what they were saying. I had to ask some of my Brazilian teammates, and once I knew that they were chanting "You're gonna die," ATT go home, and all this type of stuff, to me it was just added more fuel to the fire. So if they were helping me get motivated. So the more pressure, the better. In this sport, the pressure is always going to be there, especially as you advance in your career. So you have to have a good relationship with it and view it in a positive mindset. And for me, I enjoy it. I've always looked forward to someone talking smack to me because I enjoy the whole process. I enjoy someone who's very confident in their abilities because I'm very confident in my abilities. So I like to. Let's make it a little spicy. Why not?
You clearly feed off the pressure, which is great.
Pressure can make a diamond, or pressure can break you, and I'm a diamond.
That's good philosophy there.
I love it.
It's obviously that's something, that kind of personality, putting it all out there is something that the promotion obviously and Dana sparked to, and I don't know how much that. Obviously, that's a big part of your personality, as well as possibly something you realize that can get you far in the UFC. Regarding your history training, you've said that you've started at AT&T. There it is again.
I knew it. Take a shot.
Haider, just ignore him. He likes to say AT&T.
I don't like to say it, but I end up, it's a Freudian thing, and I don't know why exactly, but
It's
American
my fault,
Top
I'm
Team,
sorry.
that being your longtime home, a place where you really got your start. That's not, a lot of times we'll see fighters move to different gyms, evolve, and need a different different atmosphere for the next step in their lives and their fight career. What is it about American Top Team? Got that one right, nailed it. That kind of that keeps you there? What is it that you continue to evolve as a fighter? Obviously, you've got a nice run going right now. How does it continue to evolve you?
So as far as my career right now, I would have never progressed as far as I have if it wasn't for American Top Team. I'm born and raised in South Florida. I went to grade school here, high school here. I went to college in Tallahassee. I went to Florida State. So just being here in South Florida, having American Top Team in my backyard, home of some of the baddest dudes in the world, was an amazing part of my success, a huge part of my success. What makes American Top Team so great is just it's the level of guys that you compete against every day, and it's the world-class coaching that you get every day. Something that American Top Team does very, very well is attention to detail. And we have the best jiu-jitsu coaches in the world, the best striking coaches in the world, wrestling. I mean, you name it. We're able to address it, and we address it well.
Do you work a lot with Robbie Lawler, him being the king of the pile right now at 170? That's got to be good inspiration, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I look at Robbie as a mentor figure of mine. He actually helped me out a lot during the show. I would pick his brain a lot because I'm a very aggressive fighter. I'm looking to take you. I'm looking to knock you out as soon as the fight starts. And I have cardio for days. So people think that I'm going to get tired, but I don't. That's my one thing. In order for me to be successful, I have to have supreme conditioning because I'm looking to knock you out from 0 to 0, and a mindset like that is someone like Robbie's, and Robbie's a killer. He's trying to knock you out. He's trying to hurt you. So I like exchanging ideas with someone with similar mindset as mine, and Robbie's fought the who's who of this game. So he's got great insight, great mental knowledge, and for me to be able to, ask him questions, what he likes to do in certain situations, man, it's nothing but a bonus. I mean, I have Robbie Lawler, Hector Lombard, Thiago Alves. I mean, as far as the welterweights at our gym, we have the strongest welterweight division out of any team. So, I mean, the knowledge, it's just like going into a library and you have all these books that you're just like, man, I don't even know which book I want to open up first because they're all so great. And that's just pretty much the mindset at American Top Team. There's just, every day you're practicing against a stud, and iron sharpens iron. So that's why you see the product that you are. That's why I am the product I am.
Haider, you said that you've been given a lot of great opportunities from ATT, from the UFC, but your parents, I mean, they moved over here in the 70s from Iraq before you were born, and they gave you a tremendous opportunity here. And I was looking at when you were growing up, in Florida, you were a wrestler in high school, and then you didn't get into the sport until later with your brother, who is also fighting right now. What were you? I'd love to know what you were doing, because I know I read that somewhere that you had like an office job and you were just frustrated and you needed to become a fighter. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my parents came here in '77, the 70s, and they came from Iraq, Baghdad, and to come from there, my father's a physician, my mom's a clinical psychologist, so they came from nothing, they're self-made, and for me, that's my motivation, just to see the desire, the dream that they had. If you can will it, you can achieve it, and that's always been my mindset from a young age. I was a straight A student all through school, and I always for my family, education was greatly emphasized, and so was athletics. So my parents put us into athletics to keep us out of trouble. But when I went to college, I stopped. I just went full into the books, and I stopped competing. And I've been a competitor ever since I was a kid. I used to play for my school, then I would play for the city, and then I would leave the city's practice and I'd go play for my club team. So I've been competing in sports my entire life. And once I went away to college, I kind of just stopped, and it ended up like leaving a missing gap, that I felt. But after I finished school, I was working for a healthcare company. I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I was just miserable. I wasn't. I was doing what I had to do because it was. You're expected to get a job after you go to college. What else do you go to college for? And but I was just doing. I feel like I was just kind of following the trail, and it was a trail that I didn't really want to be in. But I was doing what I had to do, and. But it was breaking me down spiritually and mentally, and I just called my mom one day. And I'm not a quitter. I have never been a quitter in anything in my entire life. But I called my mom, and I was just broken down, and I kind of broke on the phone. I'm not gonna lie. I cried on the phone to my mom. I haven't cried since I was a baby, and but that's how much I was broken down. And I had to ask approval from my mom, like, hey, is this okay if I leave this job? And when she heard how upset I was, and so she gave me the approval to leave, and that's all I needed. I just needed to hear that it's okay to not do this. And once that happened, my brother was a Patriot League All-American at Georgetown. He played linebacker, and his whole dream was if I don't go play in the NFL, I'm going to go fight. And he just missed the national combine by like 1/10 of a point, and so he was like, all right. So since he missed the combine, we had time. So he was like, let's go to American Top Team. And this was just after Pitbull Thiago knocked out Matt Hughes with that flying knee. So I literally saw Pitbull on TV fight that Saturday, and that Monday I came to ATT and I ended up seeing him working out, and it was awesome, and ended up joining the classes. And after my first practice, it just ignited all my passions, all my juices that had been suppressed for such a long time. And I ended up having my first pro fight 6 months later, and I knocked the guy out in 9 seconds. And after that, I was this is my calling, and I went at it full speed.
You mentioned spirituality, and I know on the show this week they showed you praying in the house, and that you're Muslim. And I just wanted to briefly touch on that. How much mind strength do you feel that really gives you in this sport?
For me, it gives me everything, especially being in an environment that we were in. Living in a house with guys that you're gonna fight. The stresses, the emotions, us losing the way we were losing, having to be mentally strong. And anytime I ever felt, the stresses of the show or anger, I pray 5 times a day. So that was kind of my self-meditation, self-reflection. And, the prayers don't last that long. They're only like 3 to 5 minutes. But those 3 to 5 minutes was able to every time to kind of recenter me and refocus my mind. And anytime I was upset or just had any, things on my mind, it just immediately focused all my attention and I felt new again. So for me, I fear no man. I try to be a good person, and and that's, I fear no man but God. So that's pretty much my mindset. So when I go there and fight, you see why I am the way I am, because I have no fear in whoever I fight. I know what I'm capable. I know what my skills and my power can do. So that's why it's just kind of like unleashing the beast. And when I go there and fight, because I feel my soul is clean, my heart is clean, and I just got to go out there and get the job done.
I love that.
Nice.
I think Alexis had a question for you.
I do. Speaking of like your personality and how I feel like it really shines, throughout all the other fighters on the American Top Team, I saw that you had your finger up to your mouth at the very end of the fight. I didn't know if that was like some sort of like you were shushing the crowd or your team, or that was just I wanted to know what that was.
Oh, I was silencing the Black Zillions.
Nice.
I just put my mouth and tell them to shush.
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
Because man, the very first fight we had, they started chanting Vamu Hair, which set me off. That's why I called out Kamaru right after the fight, because nothing that I didn't have anything personal against Kamaru. He was just guilty by association, and he was the captain of their team, so I'm trying to fight the baddest dudes they got. And so since he was the first person in the cage and just fought, and I'm hearing what the Black Zillions are saying, you're going to die, I took that extremely personal. And so that's why I just started calling everyone out. And that's how they did every single fight. I mean, they would chant, ATT go home, ATT you're nothing, you're going to die. So literally after I knocked him out, they were just silenced. I mean, then everything just dropped. I mean, all they saw was their mouths were wide open, like, what the, I just backed up everything I just said. So for me, it was vindication. And anytime you can make someone be quiet in their own gym, that's what's up.
Well, that's what I loved about that. And I also love the fact that you're just, like I said, you're just a very spiritual and also just a spirited fighter. But also after going through this whole experience, being in the house and dealing with all of everything that you just said, what advice would you give someone who's going into the next season that they can take if they decide to do another gym versus gym, or just the competition in general?
Yeah, as far as any advice that I can give, I would just tell everyone to seize the moment, get after your opportunity. I mean, if you look at the Ultimate Fighter shows in Brazil, man, there's over 1,000 kids, trying out for the show. The lines around the building going down for a mile, I mean, these are guys that are looking into this opportunity that can change a life, that can change their lives and improve their families' lives. And that's what I would tell them. I tell them, like, this is an opportunity that you have to take full advantage of. For me, every time I've ever fought outside of the Tough show, I was always like, man, I wish Dana White was here and he was able to see me fight, because if he did see me fight, he'd know what I'm capable of. So now that's your moment. This is all with the hard work, the injuries, the blood, the stitches. This is what you're here for. So I tell them to, don't drink, just focus hard, train hard, go in there in the best shape of your life, and just forget everything on the outside. This is your dream, and go make it happen.
Awesome.
He definitely sees the moment. I was going to say, we could jump into it.
Go.
Carpe diem.
I mean, the fight was so quick with Naka. I'd love to know, with your limited days of prep, what you had to focus on and what his weak points were. And just take us through the fight. You could probably take us through blow by blow at this point.
You could probably recreate it.
Yeah, I'd love to just what was going through your mind, at the beginning and then until the end, what exactly you had to do and what you saw.
So as far as fighting Nakahara, I was super pumped. I like fighting real fighters. Nakahara, he's a world champion karate striker. So I knew he was going to be very quick, very fast, very dynamic, and I was very excited. Because I don't like fighting grapplers. I have a wrestling background, but I use my wrestling to keep the fight standing. I'm a guy that's trying to knock your head off, and so I knew Naka was going to try and kick and keep me on the outside. So I just had to be in his face, and that was my goal. Get in there, and I'm a volume puncher. So as soon as I'm on the inside, I'm opening up punches and bunches, and I can knock you out with either hand, my left or my right. So it's just a matter. It's not if, it's when you get knocked out. And I have conditioning. I'm not going to get tired, so it could be in the first round, the second round, or the third round. But bottom line is, you are going to get knocked out. You are going to be on your back, staring at the lights, wondering what just happened to me. That I can promise you. And that was just. Like I said, I wasn't going to break, and it was just get inside, use my double jab, because he's taller than me, he has longer reach. So I wanted to use the double jab one jab is measurement. 2 jab helps you get on the inside. So that's what I did. The first jab got me close. The second jab popped his head up, and then I came in with the right, left, right, and that was all she wrote.
Another part to the match itself, actually, that no one's really talking about, maybe partially because it was a short match. This was the first time I think that we really saw the fighters implement the game plan that they were talking about prior to the match itself. The first few we would hear about a certain game plan and then it just went out the window. This time though, Nakahara was talking about moving and keeping distance and using the leg kicks a lot, or kicks in general. And whereas Haider, looking to keep the pressure on and attack with heavy hands and stuff. So that's another part where it was, kind of exciting. One of the more exciting matches so far, certainly of the season. To that end, though, how did the hand feel afterwards? I mean, you're going in there after a hiatus for a while because of the hand injury, but it looked like it seemed like you were implementing a similar style as your trademark style with the heavy hands there.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to sticking to game plans or sticking what you're best, sticking to whatever you're best at, that just comes from confidence. Nakahara, he's very confident in his abilities. That's why he's sticking with what he does. I'm very confident in my abilities. That's why no matter where the fight goes, I'm still looking to implement what I do best. But as far as actually, I kind of forgot what you were saying.
Just especially two parts here. You're coming off of this hand injury, and I am wondering, really, does it make you second guess or kind of reconsider your style and what you're really known for? Are you going to be more careful? I mean, 5 surgeries on your hand is quite a lot, although we certainly didn't see any change in style per se in this match. I assume that you came out okay, the hand felt fine afterwards, and
yeah, my hand felt great. My problems with my hand just came from, I didn't have any amateur fights. I turned pro right off the bat, and that just came from, my hand issues came from bad tape jobs before my fight. I would have guys that would tape my hands, and they taped it more for grappling, more of a grappler's hand wrap, and I punch really, really hard. So once they even started taping my hands for striking, I needed more padding, and they normally just use a quarter of a roll or half of a roll for guys that punch hard, but I need to use an entire roll just for a pad, and that was something that they don't normally ever do. But that was something for me, by trial and error, I had to learn, because I was like, why am I keep on breaking my hands? So we just had to learn, okay, use more pad, even more pad this time. So for this fight, I had a great, I had our coach, Mikey Rod. He's one of our boxing coaches at American Top Team. and he did a phenomenal hand wrap for me. And but I didn't celebrate after I knocked out Naka. I didn't celebrate until I felt my hand, and everything was great. And I was like, "Oh, thank you, God, I love you, I love you." And then I was like, "Okay, thank you, I won." Yeah. But until then, I had to feel the hand first, and it was intact. So I was.
Did you not have your own coaches wrapping your hands in those first pro fights?
No, I didn't. You know, a lot of times we would go to shows, and the show would have their own cut man who would do tapes, who would rap, and those were actually the fight that I broke my hand in was when I fought in Strikeforce. I fought on the same card with Nick Diaz,
Miami,
and Robbie Lawler, and they had a really, really bad guy who's actually known. He doesn't have a really good reputation. He's actually known for getting guys breaking their hand. I mean, it was that same guy that taped my hands, the same guy that Daniel Cormier ended up breaking his hand when he fought Bigfoot. So really the tape job is everything. It really matters, especially if you're heavy-handed, if you're going to have problems. But since then, now I learned how to tape my own hands, just so I wouldn't ever have to run into that situation if, God forbid, that ever did happen again. But now, yeah, I mean, if I have to fly someone that I trust that can do a good tape job, and that's what I'm going to do, because I can't afford to have any more time delay.
No, you can't. Haider, how much of the drama between you and Jason Jackson is manufactured or real?
So the drama in the house was 100% real. As far as, you know, I legitimately whooped him up, you know, and you know, so the thing is this: they're putting a camera in front of Jason's face, and they're like, "Haider knocked you out. What do you feel about that?" So he's gonna say, he's not gonna be like, "Yeah, he did whoop my butt." He's gonna think of an excuse, so he doesn't look bad, and so he's gonna be like, "All right, Haider held my hair." Well, number one, cut your hair. So that doesn't happen, you know, because if he got caught in a guillotine choke, he can't pull his head out of a guillotine choke, or if he gets caught in a triangle choke, he can't pull his head out because of his dreads, you know. So would that be his excuse then? Oh, you only guillotined me because of my hair, you know. So, but the altercation we had in the house was real. But Jason's a very confident guy. He's very confident in his skills, and I'm a very, very confident guy. As soon as I got in this sport, I was always, oh man, I can't wait till someone talks crap to me. I was always looking forward to that opportunity, but no one ever talked crap to me because they know what I'm capable of. So when Jason, I don't know if you guys watched the Tough Talk episode last night.
Oh yeah,
We did.
We went at it again. Once I got to the Fox studios and I saw Jason there, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what they want to see, another argument, you know. And for me, I look forward to that. Like I said, I like guys that can challenge me. I like guys that are trying to talk. But I mean, I already took care of it. I already knocked him out. There's not really much he can say except make himself look stupid. And I think he kind of did that, you know, because the fight wasn't even close. I'm actually going to post the fight. I'm waiting for one of my buddies. He has to send it to me by Dropbox. But once he does, I'm just going to put it on there, and I'm just going to tell him to silence that mouth.
I'd love to see a budding rivalry. Like that's what this show is. It's maybe starting to ramp up a little bit. I like this, that you and Jason are kind of getting into it. I kind of wanted to get into the turnaround real quick. Just a quick question. Would you feel confident fighting? Because I feel like we're going to start finally seeing guys fighting, you know, multiple fights. So I'd love to know, like, your feeling as a fighter fighting, you know, twice within that short time period.
Yeah, for me, you know, especially I've come from injuries, you know, so for me, when you're healthy, I'm a huge believer in take advantage of your health. Go out there and fight as many times as possible while you're healthy. I'm a fighter that doesn't need to get in shape. I stay in shape, so I'm always ready to take on an opportunity, you know, anytime my manager calls. And that's how I encourage all fighters to think like that, be like that. Because one, it reduces injury for your future, rather than like having to really train hard and get your body in shape. Once you're out of shape, it's hard, and that's when you can maximize the percent of you taking an injury. But when you stay in shape, all you have to do is just focus on technique rather than you know, the heavy loads. then you can really knock off some consecutive fights and make it happen. And for me, that's my whole mission. My whole mission was to fight as many times as possible for this show. I looked at this show as my opportunity. So whatever I had to do to solidify my opportunity with the UFC, make as big of a fan base as possible, and just show what I am about, show my fighting skills, my personality, I wanted to do. And so yeah, that was something that I prayed for every day. I prayed for to stay healthy so I could fight multiple times. And I don't want to say much because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm gonna smile.
Nice.
What do we have to look forward to? Anything you can fill us in on?
I'm a killer. You're gonna just bring your popcorn. And don't look down, no bathroom breaks, because you might miss something awesome.
All right, I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate you joining us tonight.
I appreciate you guys talking with me, and I had a good time. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Take care
man.
and good luck.
Good night.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great to hear his perspective on it, everything.
He's got a good head on his shoulders, and as we've said in the past, as the sport evolves, I suppose you'll always have knuckleheads that just kind of go in there and I'm in a cage, I'm gonna knock somebody out, and that's that, and win the money, and but there's this evolution of these guys where people are realizing, because it is such a complex sport, you have to, the whole thing is stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. Mm-hmm. And I think we're seeing that especially with fighters like Haider. Somebody else actually in the UFC came to mind that I wouldn't be surprised if, presuming Haider gets in there, that they pair him up with, that I think would be a nice even match. But it's also somebody that comes from that same mentality of, focused, straightforward on this career path, this thing that you're trying to do. I think MMA in general, when it comes to athletes, we're going to see a lot of them being very serious and committed to their to the sport itself, their discipline. And it's good to see stuff like that. I mean, we need that in general, I think, in life,
Especially this far in the competition. I feel like this is not the time to be childish. Like, you need to be really serious about what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think he's a good fighter, and I think he will actually go very far.
He seems pretty confident at this point. So
yeah, no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I mean, that's Dana White in his little 2-second excerpt about Michael Graves. This is what separates people. Mm-hmm. Do you have your stuff together, and are you ready for the opportunity, or are you floundering and having too much to drink and sleeping in and missing weigh-ins? You know what I mean? Is this a job for you? Like, is this your life?
I wanted to ask you two, since you're more knowledgeable than us. When Haider says stuff like, I like to fight real fighters. To me, that sounds like he's more comfortable with stand-up fighters because he's more powerful, and he's not as comfortable when someone can take him down to the ground. Well, he's saying real fighters are only. Is he saying real fighters are only stand-up fighters? Because to me, it's such a wide range of
Haider,
athletes.
can you come back?
I know. I was going to ask.
I think that's what he meant.
Well, I wanted to figure out, because he's saying that Knock is a real fighter, but does that mean a guy like Baby Monster isn't a real fighter?
Not necessarily. No, I wasn't going to say much. It was more along the lines of everybody's version of a good fighter is always different. Like, in my brain, I'm kind of on that boat of, like, I like someone who gives me all options of stand-up, grappling, back to stand-up. It's not just kind of a clincher only up on the cage. Like, that's a problem for me. But I'm not saying they're not a real fighter. I just feel like it's a very boring fight for you to sit there and just be in one position the whole time. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I think also, too, especially somebody that I'm guessing that he means, one part of it is that the guy has a proven background. Mm-hmm. If you're a world-class Kyokushin fighter or champion, if you're at that level, clearly you are a fighter. You've paid your dues, and you've gotten to that level of recognition. And I think he is more of a striker than grappler, Haider is, but I don't think he would be so dismissive of the ground game so much. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy's a high school wrestler, so
yeah, I'd love to see him go up against. Yeah, I hope he fights someone like Baby Monster. Like, I really want to see him go up against someone who wants to take it to the ground, because he has that wrestling background. He says, "I want to use my wrestling to stand back up."
Yeah, he had my attention from the beginning of the fight, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him fight again for sure.
Oh, heck yeah!
Absolutely. Well, we have to wrap up, but before we do, I want your predictions of UFC 187 this weekend. Alexis, go.
I actually don't know who's
It's
fighting.
Vitor Belfort, Chris Weidman, and Belfort.
Oh,
Pick it.
man, Belfort.
Jay.
No, Weidman.
Really?
Weidman, Cormier, and what's the third one? I'm blanking. There's 2 title matches.
Cerrone, and
Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking of 3 title matches on my card in 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's the one. But yeah, Cerrone by far, for sure.
I go Weidman, and I'm going Johnson.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cormier's a better talker, but I'm sticking with Anthony.
It's that clinch game, man. It's that clinch and them uppercuts.
It's gonna be good. And shout out to my friend Uriah Hall. I hope he wins his fight as well. It's a great card. I'm stoked for it.
Who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Weidman and Cormier. I'm going with Cormier. I know I have to go with him. He's cool. Anyway,
that's how we break it down.
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed. He's a cool guy. Okay, thank you all for joining us this week. It was certainly fun chatting with Haider, and we will see you next week. Where can we find you, Alexis?
You can find me where all Alexis Torres are sold at atorres890.
Jay.
You can find me at Club Nogueira in just about 10 days. Tickets are available at uofmma.com.
Go.
Come meet me.
Go.
I will buy you a beer.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh.
That's a great deal.
Boom.
That's legit.
You can find me on Twitter at Gilkerson Radio. You know, make fun of my lack of knowledge.
It's amazing,
I wouldn't
Jared.
say that.
I'm at Suri Serano on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. Thank you again. See you next week.
Bye.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.